Hey, welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. It is late. I had to wait for that game to end because I wanted to finish up a few things on my notes here. But we are doing the Big Ten Huddle power rankings after week 3. So we're going into week 4 now, and we're going to talk about it. So honestly, not all that much changed in the Big Ten power rankings. Now, I kept a lot of the stuff the same because honestly, there wasn't all that much that happened. So unfortunately for Minnesota, they did move down. Was not impressed with them after the loss to Cal. I felt like that was a Cal team that they should have beat. And honestly, the missed field goal, the muff punt, they allowed Cal to keep running the ball on them late into the game. Or not keep running it. They started running the ball on them, and it just kind of kept going late into the game. So I did ding Minnesota quite a bit for that one, but rest assured, Minnesota fans, you have plenty of opportunities to move back up. And then Wisconsin dinged them as well. I know it's a road loss to Alabama, right? But this is an Alabama team that we just saw lose to Florida State, and the things that was happening to Alabama in that one didn't look like they were there. So this is probably a better Alabama team than what we saw before, but still pretty embarrassing loss for Wisconsin in that one. So we're gonna go through it team by team, kind of through it all, and get there. So we got John here. Appreciate you being here, so, John. He says, I don't see why Illinois is that high up. Altmyer was awful for a vast majority of the game. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns in it, and I know he got sacked twice, but I I disagree, John. I didn't think Altmyer was awful for the majority of it. Was he bad for parts of it? Yeah, but it was a slow start for him. They only scored 10 points in the first half. So definitely need to clean that up. I did a post game with Sonny Verma over at Orange and Blue News. Got some news on that for you guys Sunday night to do that, but I didn't think it was that awful. I thought he made some good throws. I thought he scrambled. I think the offensive line was probably worse than Altmyer was overall in that one, and that's definitely a concern for Illinois going into this game against Indiana. That offensive line cannot block the way they did against Duke and the way they did against Western Michigan. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. So I think that's probably more of my issue there is the offensive line, and less so Luke Altmyer. But yeah, I mean, you only scored 10 points in the first half against Western Michigan. There's going to be some backlash. And Crow's Shining Wings agrees with me. It wasn't Altmyer. It was our O line. Yeah. Definitely some stuff to clean up there in the O line front for Illinois, but we'll get to it. Let's start with the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes, Ohio State. They had a dominant second half. They scored 24 unanswered at one point, but the first half was not so great for them. And then Ohio came out and scored on a big pass play that really kind of gave Ohio State a little bit of concern, but eventually they pull ahead and they win, pretty much no problem there. So for Ohio State, it wasn't the elite performance that you've kind of looked to, but I didn't feel like it was bad enough to move them out of the number 1 spot. You're going to have some people this week talking about Miami, talking about maybe even Oregon for the number 1 spot. I don't personally feel like Oregon has a good of a win as Texas right now. So even though Texas doesn't look great, I would entertain the Miami at number 1 spot because of beating Notre Dame and because of beating USF. But I also don't know if that USF team is going to be, anything amazing by the end of the year. So if you're prisoner of the moment, sure, Miami might be number 1, but I would say pump the brakes a little bit. Ohio State's still going to be number 1 in mine. And it's going to be really funny seeing Notre Dame ranked in like the top 15 or the top 20. It's week 4 and they don't even have a single win yet, and they're still ranked in like the top 20, top 15. I think Brett McMurphy, which by the way, Brett McMurphy put out his poll and not even all the games were over yet. Like I get like doing power rankings like this with like 5 minutes left in the Minnesota game when it looked like it was over, but holy cow. You can't put out a top 25 when not even Boston College was still playing Stanford. How did that game end up? I should have checked that before I finished it here. But yeah, Boston College and Stanford were playing. Stanford ended up winning that. So, obviously, neither of those two teams are going to be ranked, but Yeah, I mean, Tulane beats Duke. That's not good for them. Old Dominion killed Virginia Tech. If anything, Indiana helped their out of conference schedule. Old Dominion destroying Virginia Tech 45-26. I believe that game. Let me check the box score real fast. That game, yeah, it was 28-0 at one point. And yeah, oh boy, what a terrible performance. Yeah, it was 31-0. Yeah, they scored a field goal before Virginia Tech ever scored. So yeah, there you go. Gotta pad the out of conference schedule there for the Hoosiers. But yeah, let's get into Oregon next. Oregon, I mean, this was a game where I believe they were up 34-0, and the Northwestern kind of comes back a little bit there. So it gets rid of the cover for anybody that was betting that. Sorry about you, but I mean, this was a dominant performance by Oregon. The backups didn't close it out as well as you might hope, but the starters and everything else. Dominant performance by Oregon going on the road. If you're a Ducks fan, you love to see it, but you don't take all that much from it. So you beat Northwestern, who also got killed by Tulane. So I'm not gonna move Oregon up into the number one spot for this, but it does obviously make you feel good about Oregon. Penn State wins this one over Villanova 52-6, and it was a bit of an interesting first half for Penn State. Penn State obviously killed Villanova in this one, but you would have thought they would have been destroying them by more in the entirety of the game, or in the first half of the game, but was still somewhat close at that point in time. So yeah, 21-0, I guess, if that's somewhat close. But for an FCS team and you're Penn State, it's still kind of a slow start, right? If you're a Penn State fan, you still want to see them destroy the teams that they're playing against. Andrew Aller, 209 yards, only one touchdown pass, and your leading rusher was Katron Allen with 86 yards and one TD run. Again, it's not like bad, like you can't dock Penn State for it, I don't think, but it's still like where's the killer, where's the killer game that everybody looks to and is like, oh yeah, that's the dude, that's Penn State. There's not been that game yet that's like really struck fear into anybody. When Oregon destroyed Oklahoma State, granted Penn State doesn't have Oklahoma State on their schedule, but when Oregon destroyed them, there were people like, okay, we know Oklahoma State isn't good, but still you destroyed that team. So it is what it is. Again, I'm not going to knock Penn State for it, but you definitely would have, liked to see a bit more dominance throughout it there. Illinois, talked about them. The Duke win doesn't look as good with Tulane beating them, but also I think Tulane, if it wasn't for USF right now, they'd be my pick to make the college football playoffs in the G5 spot. Maybe they will. Maybe they will still make it over USF, but, it's probably going to be one of those two teams. Maybe, UNLV's kind of starting well, so maybe them, but yeah, it's not looking like it. So Ducks fan says Penn State had Villanova on the schedule. Yeah, that's who you got. That's who you play. It is what it is. You can only play who you got. All right, USC finishes winning 33-17 over Purdue. This game is going to have some mixed feelings for people because USC's offense did not dominate to the level that I think some people were kind of hoping that it would. You also did have the 3-hour lightning delay in this one, and we've seen the lightning delay kind of impact some of the more favored teams. So you're really excited, obviously, you're ready to go play the game, and then the lightning delay happens. But Purdue showed a lot of fight in this game. A lot of people are going to knock Purdue for a number of different things in this game, but this Purdue team showed a lot of fight, and I felt really good about my pick of the score being closer than some other people might have anticipated. And honestly, it was right there with it. I picked the game to be 31-17, or what was it? No, 38-21. It was pretty much right there with it. 33-17 in this one, a little bit lower scoring than what I thought it would be, but still, Big Ten opener here. Purdue keeps it somewhat close with USC. If Ryan Browne didn't throw the interception 3 times in the red zone, it probably would have been closer. But man, Ryan Browne is fast. Holy cow, he is just an athletic guy. But yeah, overall, USC in this one, I'm not going to knock them for it. I think if you're USC fan, you're excited about kind of some of the stuff that Jaden Maiava did. 1 rushing touchdown, nearly 300 yards. Obviously, ton of offensive yards all around, but no passing TDs for him. You would have liked to maybe see a little bit more of an explosive day, but it is what it is. Let's see. Ducks fan forever says just made some stupid mistakes, but they were on the verge of putting a lot of pressure on USC at the end. Yeah, they were. It made me, like I said, it made me feel good about my kind of preview when I was talking about Purdue's more of a team than, you got to be aware of. And honestly, Purdue's wide receivers played pretty well in that game too. But did you guys see the play? You got to look it up. If you didn't see it, this Purdue USC game, the play where Ryan Browne, he throws the ball backward to, what was it, the wide receiver or the running back or something, and he catches it. He throws it back to Ryan Browne. The DB was on Ryan Browne. The ball was backward, so the ball gets tipped. Ryan Browne catches it on the bounce, and then he runs in for a touchdown. It was so crazy. And honestly, I was like, this is only something that would happen to USC. So that way people that didn't watch the game can be like, yeah, USC's defense. Yeah. I mean, they did let Purdue in the red zone a couple times there, but still it's just like, if you're a USC fan, you're just like, oh my gosh. How is this happening? I don't think there's anything you can do but laugh at that point. So John says it should have been a pick 6. I don't know what that play was about. Yeah, I mean, it should have been. He should have got it, but I don't know if he jumped early or he just misread the ball or what. But yeah, he was Ryan Browne was lucky. He passed it backward, and then the other guy passed it backward to him, and it was just such a crazy situation. But the real love has to go to Jamal Jarrett, the USC defensive lineman who picked off Ryan Browne and to return the ball for a touchdown. What was it, 70 yards? I think I didn't write down the yards. I think it was like 70-yard touchdown or something like that. Not 70. It was probably more than that. Anyway, I'm misremembering how much it was, but yeah. Jamal Jarrett, I even put him on my little post with the final score thing. That was a really fun game to watch. USC Purdue, a lot of high-powered offense, a lot of kind of weird things happening here and there. I know if you're a Purdue fan, you would have wanted to see a win, obviously, but I think overall this game was a good sign for Barry Odom and what he's going to bring to Purdue. You hate it, you wish you would have got the loss, but at the same time, you're walking away from this as a Purdue fan like, okay, this isn't Ryan Walters anymore. We've got, we've got a real head coach here. We've got a real team here. Things are looking much, much better. All right. Let's go to Indiana. Talked about them last night, so we won't spend too much time on them, but they throttle Indiana State. There was the injury to BB Jr., some stuff there. There's the discipline that I didn't get to last night, but Khalil Benson, apparently he has a suspension coming. He has a suspension for some off the field stuff or whatever. So you'd like to see better than that, but also Kirk Cinetti, he's just a tough dude to please. So you're gonna have issues there. But overall, elite performance by Indiana. You got to see Alberto Mendoza in there. You like that. Not much to say on the Indiana win. Michigan destroys Central Michigan. Holy cow. Who knew it was going to take Biff Poggi to unleash Bryce Underwood and all that he is? Biff Poggi coaches this game. The defense forced turnovers in this one. Barham did get injured at one point, but I think he was okay. I'll be honest, at that point in time, there really wasn't all that much stuff going on. I just saw him sitting down on the ground, so I'll have to go look at that more. There were other games going on that I had to watch as well. That Wisconsin game, we'll get to Wisconsin here in a minute, don't worry. But yeah, I mean, they unleashed Bryce Underwood in this one, and he looked way better, with extremely athletic. That kind of arm on that kind of athleticism, yeah, Bryce Underwood's going to be the best quarterback in college football at some point in his career. If not next year, it'll be 2 years from now. Yeah, he's going to be fantastic. All the love that DJ Lagway was getting this offseason and his 5 picks he threw today against LSU. Bryce Underwood's going to start getting a lot of love like that from some other people. So Zavada missed a second straight field goal second straight, I guess 2 games straight, not the second straight. 2 games straight, a missed field goal from Dominic Zavada. What in the world is going on? Kind of crazy, but Underwood did have, I will say Underwood is not there with the deep ball yet. And it's not exactly surprising because some of it could be on the wide receivers as well. I don't know all the intricacies of that, and I don't act like I do. But yeah, he had that deep ball that was nearly picked off. The deep ball, I think it was the first play of the game where that was kind of overthrown. So definitely some work needs to be done on the deep ball stuff there. But overall, Bryce Underwood, he's a fantastic talent. He'll get it figured out. Nebraska, kind of similar to Indiana. Don't have a whole lot here. They throttle Houston Christian. It was a really fun day if you're a Husker fan. It's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, you throttled them, but I can't move you up. You throttled Akron, so even if Minnesota would have beat Cal, I wouldn't have moved Minnesota above Nebraska because Nebraska destroyed Akron more than Minnesota destroyed Buffalo, So even if Minnesota got this win, so that's kind of why they had to move down a little bit more. A team that moved up in Minnesota's place was Michigan State. And I got to be honest, I maybe I should have moved them down. I mean, this Youngstown State game was not exactly inspiring confidence in me. And then on top of that, you have Nick Marsh, who he went down with an injury. He dominated the first half, but he had an undisclosed injury, missed the second half. And then you had Mekhi Frazier go down, Luka Vincic go down, Connor Moore, the wide receiver Alante Brown. Amarian Smith, he was a late game ailment type of deal. Kind of a weird situation for Michigan State here, but the headline show was obviously Amari Kelly, his 83-yard punt return set up the TD and everything. This was a closer game than it should have been. If you want to tell me I should move Michigan State under Washington, I'm not going to argue with you. But Washington didn't play. So maybe if I would have seen something from Washington today, unfortunately for them, they were just on a bye week. Maybe I would have moved them up, but yeah. And maybe I should have put Iowa over him because Iowa looked fantastic today. Mark Gronowski looked much better throwing the ball. He ran for a touchdown, only 12 yards rushing, but he ran for a touchdown as well. Kirk Ferentz becomes the winningest Big Ten head coach. That one guy from Chicago is still above him, but current Big Ten teams. He becomes the winningest head coach, passes Woody Hayes. So yeah, I got Iowa still below Washington. I did not see enough for me to really feel great about the offense. And then on top of that, it's UMass. You should score over 40 points. That was the barometer for me. Now, if they would have put up 60, maybe I would have been feeling different. But these are really small differences here. You know what I'm saying? You played UMass and you blew them out. Congrats. All right. Minnesota. That was a tough one to watch. Had the touchdown pass in the second half that gave you the lead, started to feel a little bit more confident there. And then Cal started to run the ball. And it felt like as soon as Cal started being able to run the ball, it was like, okay, this is over. Cal's been moving the ball all day pretty much just by throwing it. You get a run game in there as well. And it just, at that point, it felt like it was over unless they could just really hold him in the red zone or something like that. And then you have a chance with a field goal, and then you miss a field goal. It honestly kind of felt like North Carolina last year, right? Or what was the game when the kicker missed all the field goals? Rutgers last year kind of felt like Rutgers as well. But that was Washington. That wasn't Minnesota last year. But still, kind of like one of those where it's like, man, come on, just give us the field goal. Now it was a 51-yarder, so it wasn't exactly an easy make or anything like that. But still, that's one that PJ kind of relies on his guys to make. He needs a kicker with that kind of leg that can hit those to really help his team out. But no dice in that one. Minnesota falls. Coy Parrish, man, that sucked for Coy Parrish. It really felt like Coy Parrish was like, I got to make a play here, right? It felt like he had to make the play, kind of putting the pressure on himself, and he goes to pick up the football on the punt, and he just completely misses it. So tough break there. Team that did not have a whole lot of tough breaks was Rutgers. 60-10. They improved to 3-0. And the Ohio kind of close score looks a little bit more justified now. West Virginia beats Pitt. I didn't think that was coming. I thought Pitt was going to beat them by a touchdown or more, but didn't happen. West Virginia beats Pitt. West Virginia, yeah, they lost to Ohio. Ohio gives Ohio State a good game in the first half. 13-9 in the first half. Yeah, that was a good game there for a little bit in that Ohio State game. Now, I will say there was never in doubt. You always knew Ohio State was going to win that game. It was just some scoring efficiency issues, right? Didn't convert in the red zone one time, settled for field goals, I think 3 times in that game in the red zone. So, excuse me. You feel better about what happened with Rutgers and Ohio, especially when you know the context of Rutgers, right? So there's honestly an argument here that you move Rutgers above Minnesota as well, but I didn't want to move Rutgers all that low. I felt like it was already like justified to move them under Iowa, but yeah, we'll see. Point is, Rutgers will have every opportunity this weekend to move on up there because guess what? They play Iowa, and you beat Iowa, you can move right on up there. So, and they did improve their pass rush in this one. Now, again, it's Norfolk State. This is not some amazing team or amazing offensive line or anything, but Weaver, O'Neal, and Thompson, they combined for 3 sacks in this game. They got a blocked punt. That was good. They had some inconsistencies containing the runs and red zones and stuff like that. Allowed 10 points despite dominance effort. So I just think that this Rutgers team, you're not going to get a full dominant game from the defense in this one, even against like an FCS foe. That's just the state of the defense where it's at, unfortunately. And I mean, you only let up 10 points. It's nothing crazy. You still scored 60 on them. So Rutgers feeling good about them. All right, Wisconsin. Oh boy, 38-14. Badgers shut out in the first half, 21-0. This was rough to watch for Wisconsin. You had Renfro trying to go in, trying to make it, didn't make it. The secondary, boy, I knew there were some secondary issues for Wisconsin. You know, Holman has not been his normal self. Zachman had a good game the first game, but the second game, he really wasn't all that much. Like he didn't really pop out on the tape all that much. It's just unfortunate for Wisconsin. Ty Simpson had a really good day, 382 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Danny O'Neal, I mean, he gave you everything he could, but we learned that he's nothing super great. He's a good backup, it looks like, but he's a backup. That's what he is. 117 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, both on Bama's side of the field too. You know, scoring opportunities coming for your team, and you throw 2 interceptions. So I mean, just kind of looked like Bama was, or not Bama, the Badgers were pressing in this one. They allowed 28 unanswered points in the game. And once you get down like that, you know, the offense, O'Neal, those guys are going to be pressing, trying to get it. So it's unfortunate. But this is where Wisconsin is at. They did a good job. They had a 4th down stand to stop Bama. I believe it was in the opening drive. And you know, the Vinny Anthony, he had a kick return touchdown. Gave him momentum there, but yeah, the inability of the offense, the offensive line, not great. Yeah, it was troublesome. We'll get into it deeper with Zach and everything, but yeah, hard stuff to watch for Wisconsin. Maryland destroys Towson. Towson starts to score at the end of the game, but you know, if you're a Maryland fan, this is what you wanted to see. You know, maybe a little bit more points than you'd like to see against an FCS opponent, but 44-17, you destroy them. Congratulations. That's what you should do as Maryland. And considering the way some people thought this season was going to go, it's better than, you know, some people thought. All right. Purdue. Oh, where's my notes at? I lost my notes. Okay. Purdue, talked about them a little bit. Biggest thing was the interceptions in the red zone. That was really hard to try and come back from. They didn't have any takeaways themselves. If they would have had a few takeaways and forced USC into some turnovers, maybe. But yeah, Purdue going to stay put. I can't move them down because Northwestern, they lost as well. They didn't get blown out, but they lost as well. And unfortunate effort for them. Not unfortunate effort, unfortunate game for them. Oregon forced 3 turnovers. Northwestern held the Ducks to about 200 yards, but 31 points. Mac Uline, he had an interception, but too little, too late. So it is what it is. And then UCLA. I mean, I talked about them on Friday night. It's unfortunate, but this is just where UCLA is. They get blown out by New Mexico. I'm interested to see what this team looks like after 4 games, because there is a possibility, and I'm not rooting for this to happen by any means. There is a possibility that dudes start saying, do I really want to use a year of eligibility on this? I don't think any other team in the Big Ten is in that spot right now. Wisconsin, maybe, but they're still 2-1. Northwestern, yeah, maybe. You might have a guy or two from there that comes up with an injury after week 4 or something like that, and it's like, oh, he's out for the season, and it was kind of unsuspected. Or a guy might just come out and say it too. In this day and age, they might just come out and say it too. So, JR, say what you're saying about Nico without saying about Nico. I mean, I already said about Nico. I said it in the other one. I don't think he's going to end the season as UCLA's quarterback. Do I think it's going to happen after just 4 games? Maybe. But I don't think he's the only one. You got the running backs, Thomas there. You've got, Gilmer, the wide receiver as well. Like, that's the thing. Like, you have talent on this UCLA team. This UCLA team has talent. They just don't have discipline, and they don't play together. It's hard to win, even against G5 teams. So, yeah. But AJ says, what team would be stupid enough to take him, though? I mean, teams love the traits, right? It's like the NFL. Who went 3rd overall to my Colts team to play quarterback? It was a terrible pick. Anthony Richardson. What was the most impressive thing he ever did? A backflip. Teams love traits. Now, I know this isn't the NFL, but teams look at crazy stuff like that. There's going to be a team out there that looks at Nico's length and his body type and his speed and everything else, and says, yeah, we can make him work. He can work in our system. Now, I don't know. Maybe Nico can work someplace else. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think everything that's going on at UCLA is on Nico right now. I commend him for some things, but there's also other times where it just kind of looks like, I don't want to say he's given up, but he doesn't try to make the extra play. It's just kind of like the play's dead, move on. And it's like, I get it, but it's also you would rather not see something like that happen. Worst part is his brother's on the team too. So if he's done, is his brother done too, or is his brother going to play? I don't know. It's crazy. John says Tino's regretting his move from Indiana to UCLA. Big time. Big time, John. You are correct. All right, guys. It's late. I'm going to end the Power Rankings episode here. Thank you so much for watching, joining me. Obviously, Zach and I will be back Sunday night. We'll have some takeaways. We'll go through a whole lot more of this stuff. You guys bring your takeaways, bring your thoughts. We'd love to hear those in the chat as well. If you're listening on here on podcast or on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Really helps the channel out, helps out the video and everything else. These Power Ranking episodes are by far our most popular episodes we do a week. So if you give us like, subscribe, those kind of things help. And then if you're listening on podcast, not nearly as popular on the podcast end, but people do like it on the podcast end as well. So 5-star rating, review, all that kind of stuff. If you don't like it for some reason, if you don't like the Big Ten Huddle, please do not give a 1-star review. That stinks. Please email me. I promise you, I will be much more likely to read your email and actually put effort into fixing the show than I will a review. I don't get a notification about a review. The reviews happen and I don't ever see them. So if there's something you don't like about the Big Ten Huddle and you want to voice it to me, don't do a 1-star rating. Give me an email. jrsrankings@gmail.com. jrsrankings@gmail.com. Kirk Ferentz has the most wins in the Big Ten and the most losses. I don't know if he has the most losses, does he? I haven't seen that stat. The stat that gets talked about is the most wins. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. He's been there so long. Just at a certain point, it's just how long you've been there, right? And I'm not trying to say that about the wins. That's disrespectful to say. He's got the record. Give him his props. But yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening on podcast. I appreciate it. Have a good one.